Melbourne home values to fall. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee and let's have a look at this article from realestate.com.au, which is discussing, well, Melbourne home values to be the worst hit by the pandemic, I'd say the lockdown. And this is from ANZ and originally from the Herald Sun by Samantha Landy. Now, I can't say I'd be particularly surprised if Melbourne took a bit of a hit. Perhaps it's just because, well, a lot of viewers in the comments are saying they want to leave the state. They want to leave the state. That's one thing. I think it's a very small impact on it. But also, well, international tourism is in a lot of trouble. International students are in a lot of trouble. A lot of migrants move to Melbourne. That's non-existent at the moment, everyone. And if we have a look at some other data, we can see here, this is the month-on-month property price changes or dwelling values of the combined capitals. You can see for the last 3 months they've been heading down. This is the delta change. You can see there in Melbourne. For the past 12 months, it's still 8.7% up, but the past 3 months it's gone down 3.2%. So these are factors to consider. So the crippling second wave of the pandemic has left Melbourne facing a 15% fall in home prices by next year, according to a major bank. A 15% fall. Now, would you consider a 15% a crash? Would it be enough to entice you back into the market? But you have to understand, if we have a 15% fall in Melbourne, the economy's in the toilet down there, everyone. Right there. How many people are simply surviving on government support mechanisms? How many people aren't able to work? How many people can't even drive 5 kilometers from their house? So, you know, this may be an opportunity to get a discount on a property, but will people actually be able to get a loan? This was the largest peak to trough decline ANZ predicted for an Australian capital, ahead of Sydney at 13% down, Darwin down 9%, Hobart down 8%, and Brisbane down 6%. I can see that happening in Brisbane, a 6% hit. The big bank found Melbourne house and unit prices had already shed 2.2% between March and July, even before tough stage 4 restrictions all but shut down the property market. Well, see, the Reserve Bank are getting their wish. Remember, they wanted to put breakers on the property market to stop a dramatic fall. We've got them now. They've got them. You just have to lock down the entire economy. But it labelled this decrease slightly more modest than we expected, with government support payments like JobKeeper, superannuation withdrawals, and deferred mortgage repayments helping keep the market afloat for now. And these are all the interventions that are happening. All the support mechanisms that are happening keep the property bubble going. Melbourne's inner ring rental market have been hit hardest by the pandemic, with asking rents plunging 22.2% in the CBD and 12.7% in Southbank as new listings simultaneously soared 111% and 130.6% respectively. Now those numbers there we need to dwell on. How many of these in the CBD and Southbank are investor stock? How many people are going to struggle to get tenants? So here's the thing. I think we will see a hit to unit prices. I think units are going to be hit a lot harder than houses. I think it's going to be hit a lot harder than houses. What do you think, everyone? Particularly if you can't, you don't need a unit because you can't even work in the city right now. ANZ senior economist Cheryl Murphy said a dramatic decline in demand for housing had hurt both sales and the rental sector. You're going to have a greater unemployment problem in Melbourne simply because of the lockdown, so demand is going to be diminished, she said. Border closures stemming the flow of migrants and international students was also reducing demand for homes in Melbourne, which, along with Sydney, was a gateway to Australia, Miss Murphy said. See, this is the thing, guys. If we're going to get drastic changes to property prices, it's going to happen slowly. Property doesn't move fast. It doesn't move fast. 3% one month, then another 3%, then another 3%, then another 3%. Oh, look at that. End of the year, we're down 20%, we're down 15%. 7 months go by, we're down 21%. Stage 4 restrictions have held back available housing supply too, scaling down the construction sector and making it difficult to list properties by banning real estate agents, photographers, stylists, and buyers from attending homes. This is the thing. If you haven't looked into the property styling industry, just this is why the properties look all so lovely, and they've got all the nice furniture, and it's all color coordinated and doesn't look like a ramshackled house with 5 children, you know, held together with paint. Maybe that's just my experience. Ms. Murphy said, among the doom and gloom was a silver lining for tenants who had remained financially untouched by the pandemic, an opportunity for cheaper rents. If you're a renter, the ball's in your court. We've seen substantial falls in rent in some very desirable areas. So this is also another thing for people who are renting and maybe those who are saving up and looking for an opportunity to jump in the market. Don't let the FOMO get you. Take your time and think about what you're going to do. And maybe, if you wait a little bit longer, you can get opportunity. You can save rents. But you know what? If property goes back up, but maybe you've saved that difference in rent. Maybe you want to move in and test the area where you want to live. I mean, that's always a smart thing to do. And frankly, it may just be cheaper renting than buying. You don't have any rates. You don't have all those other costs associated with it. Maintenance isn't your problem. In addition to South Bank and the CBD, these included Abbotsford, where rental listings had skyrocketed 104.2%. Asking rents plunged 17.6%. Docklands 101% of listings and 1.8% plunge in rent. Albert Park 88.9% increase in listings and 11.5% decrease in rents. I mean, how long can people last if they're one of those people trying to get a listing, trying to get someone renting their property? How long can they last? You know, maybe they're going interest only until they have to start selling. When are we going to start seeing forced sales materialize in the apartments? And what happens? What happens if you try to do a sale in this market? What chances are you going to have? It's going to be tough, everyone. It's going to be really tough. Realestate.com.au chief economist Nerida Konietzbe said the inner Melbourne apartment sector was leading the city's downturn, while premium suburbs seem to be holding up, better due to the fact we're not seeing as much job loss in white-collar professions. This is the thing as well. We're not seeing the impacts of this recession at the moment have not been equally spread throughout the community. There's some people who have not even been touched at all, not been affected. Some businesses that haven't been hit, while others have been completely destroyed. Other sectors have been essentially stopped from working at all. So what happens when the support mechanisms are removed? What's the plan what's the plan to get the economy kicking on again? Remember there was talk about a V-shaped recovery? Remember that, everyone? That's all disappeared, hasn't it? Despite this, dwelling prices were fundamentally better, being held up by the fact banks have been supporting their customers. There you go. This is why we haven't seen property hits. I mean, what are your, do you have property? Could you handle a big decline? How would your LVR go? I think when they're talking about big hits, I think Sydney and Melbourne are going to be there. We're going to see it manifest in Sydney and Melbourne before other places. Where do I have that chart? I mean, there you go. Look at Sydney, even Hobart. We'll have to see. Maybe Hobart will come to a reasonable level. Canberra, maybe Canberra will take the lead in property prices. So, a lot of it is hinging on, will banks support people through this, and how much job losses will we see? If we do start to see mortgage defaults, that will lead to a quite significant decline. I suspect the next trick the banks will pull out, we'll have to see, will be pushing people, owner-occupiers, to interest only for a few years. Can you see that happen? Kick the can down the road, or, push them on that and then push them to sell. So slow down so people are not forced. Give them more time to sell. The banks don't want to see a property decrease. They don't want to see values plunge down. What do you think, everyone? What do you think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create here, there are a few ways you can. Simply interacting with the channel is a great way to help. You can support the channel as well by joining us financially on Patreon or YouTube, buying our merch from HeiseSays, using any of our referral links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or Kucoin. You can buy our merch from Teespring, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Have a great day, everyone, and I will see you all in the next episode.